Hello and welcome. My name is Christopher Willis, and I'm a principal security researcher here at Prelude. Today, we're going to be talking about APT38 and the Sony Hack for TTP Tuesday. So I was super excited to be able to do this chain. I remember back in 2014 when this all happened, and I remember watching the movie that all inspired this attack called The Interview. And it just brought back tons of memories. So if you're not familiar with the Sony hack, we'll give you a little bit of the timeline here. So actually the movie was supposed to come out in October of 2014, but it then got delayed because Sony Pictures knew that North Korea was quite upset about this movie. And so they spent roughly over 2 months. So the movie was then supposed to come out in November, or it was almost 2 months, where then they thought, okay, so we've got to make the changes in order to essentially wipe all of the real badges that they ended up getting from North Korea, and essentially make new badges on everybody's coats, and they changed names and things like that. So then it was supposed to come out in November. So during November, so November 25th to be exact, first reports of an attack happening on Sony. And then basically 2 days later, they said, hey, we're investigating this attack. A day after that, copies of unreleased movies and DVD rips of screeners from Sony Pictures appear all over online. And then a few days after that, documents start being released. Mostly the documents are things like pay details, names of employees, birth dates, social security numbers. And we start seeing more documentation come out about some of the movies that either are going to be released from Sony or that haven't even been talked about yet, or things that were just released, and basically giving a whole bunch of data on all of Sony Pictures and Columbia Pictures and what they were doing. During that time as well, the FBI starts releasing warnings about the destructive malware wiper called Distrover, which they also used in Sony Pictures. And then December 3rd, they report the claims that North Korea would officially be named around the attacks. And then the FBI confirms that a few days later, which North Korea surprisingly denies, and they still deny it, that they've done this. And there's actually some conspiracies around North Korea not actually doing this, and other potential actors and why they would do this. Very interesting information. I highly encourage you to go to our blog, feed.prelude.org, and read up some of the more report on this. And I actually give some links to the Novetta report, which is Operation Blockbuster, and also another publication from Vanity Fair that talks about how this attack sort of gives some details about how Russia conducted its election meddling back in 2016. So the movie eventually comes out on December 25th, and it became like this American, like, you had to watch it. And I remember it being a big thing. And so I remember on Christmas Day watching The Interview, and I think I actually watched it a few times. So interesting part of the culture and then actually diving into the attack itself. So super fun, and definitely a cool timeline of events. So the FBI still says that North Korea performed this attack. So APT38, and so another interesting detail is that they never showed the film at theaters. And the reason for this was because APT38, under North Korea, They called themselves Guardians of Peace. Guardians of Peace is the attacker name for this particular Sony hack. And this particular instance, they essentially threatened not only Sony for the release of this movie, but also threatened theaters with terrorism attacks if they showed the film. And so most theaters would not show it. And so they ended up just releasing it to streaming sites. The moment they released it on streaming sites, it was all over the torrent sites and Viewsnet and things like that in order to download the movie and watch it for free. So Sony lost a lot of money. We're talking millions and millions of dollars, not from the movie itself, but from all the other movies and data that was released afterwards. So huge attack that happened. That's sort of the precursor of some of the other attacks that would happen later on. So certainly a interesting attack. So let's go on to the chain and let's talk about how it relates to the Sony hack of 2014. So I have up here my Prelude instance, and I have a Windows 10 instance. And I currently already have a Numa instance running on the box. So for this attack, you will need to run your agent as administrator. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stage Numa EX for persistence. So the big thing I wanted to do here was to try to take as much of the attack as possible and create the same artifacts from the attack. So in this case, the agent is in the same location that the agent was during the Guardians of Peace attack. We're then going to mess with some registry edits. So we're going to do a few of those in order to create persistence. These are the exact same registries that were changed during the attack. We're then going to kill some processes. For this specific TTP, it probably won't matter to most target boxes. Most of these kill processes are for Microsoft SQL, but I wanted to have them in there just in case someone is doing testing and wanted to specifically dive into this attack, that you would end up killing the SQL processes. And I think this is kind of important as well because it's how they affected some of the databases. So then we're going to go off of the beaten path for just a minute, and we're going to do our exfil slightly different. So we're going to do a compression of just the documents directory. Now you can change this if you'd like. So we're just going to do an easy compression. We're going to move that to the downloads folder. Then we're going to use a new exfil that we have that you can do with this, and that's doing exfil over AWS S3 buckets. So you sign into your account, and then it will exfil all that data that you compressed into your S3 bucket. And then after that, it will download the Guardians of Peace image and then open it up in the web browser the exact same way that it was done during the attack. So without further ado, let's show you the attack in action. All right, so that's going to do it for this chain. As you'll see, the GOP kill processes was red because they just weren't a part of the box. But the image loads up for us. We've exfiltrated the information from the documents folder into the S3 bucket. And that is the chain for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give us a like and subscribe. And we'll see you all next week for our next TTP Tuesday on APT38. Till then, see you.